Hello guys, welcome to my next video. As you guys know, we are working on Angular routing and we have learned so far, we have learned a lot making how we can set up routing and all the initial basic steps we have learned, and you guys have coded along with me also. So in this lecture, I am going to tell you how we can pass parameters in the URL to different route and how those parameters will be passed. And also there's one more thing I'm going to tell you in this video, that instead with passing the parameters, how we can pass fragments. You see, sometimes if you want to scroll to certain area of page, and in the URL we pass hash number sign with the text we want to scroll down and go to that area. So this is all we are going to learn in this video. And for the convenience of you guys, as always, I have added my GitHub handler link in the video description. You can just go there and download it, and you can just code along with me and learn how to pass parameters. All the environment is already set up for you guys, and we can just you have to just install that and you can continue coding with me. So let's start it. So far we have these three links, and I want to bind these links. When I click on that, it should pass some parameters, and those parameters should be visible in the URL true. So for that, I am gonna in app module, I am gonna register another route called servers, and then there will be ID in the URL. So remember guys, I have added colon in this with this server / colon ID. So this colon means, this is very important to understand, this colon means it is a dynamic ID. It won't be that IND string, but it will be a dynamic number in the URL. And now I'm gonna pass one more thing, there's added. So please remember one thing, please notice one thing, there with this added, I did not add colon at all. So since I did not add colon, so Angular will not consider that a dynamic number, it will consider that as a string. And now I am gonna add the name of component, added server component. So I have already added this added server component. I have already added in this code base. You can just go there, and when you will download it, that will be automatically installed, because the purpose of this video is to understand the concept of passing parameter in the URL. So all the other things which are required, like creating the components and making setups and creating an environment, that is all done. You can just download it and you can just code along with me. So once we have registered that route, now I'm gonna link this and let's see how we can see that and how we can implement that. So on these links, I'm gonna bind and add a router link. So what I am gonna do, I am gonna add a directive called router link. As we learned already, this router link is basically a Angular directive which we use for routing. And for this directive, I am gonna add array, and we have learned we can add array, we can add a single value also, but when we add array and when we use array, we have a liberty to use multiple parameters and to use and to add different fragments in the URL. And now I am gonna add the name of that component, so that is server, and with the server component I am gonna add ID, which for now I have added ID 5, and with the 5 ID, now I have added that string also. So there will be note ID that will be added. So this all these three sections will be the part of our URL. So let's see the effect of that. I have saved it. Now when I click on that, you see 5 and added. Both these two values are added in the URL. So that is working, and that's how we have set up and we have used router link directive. Now, as you know, the purpose of this video is to pass a query parameter in the URL. How we are going to use that? Since we have set up that link, and we have also called the added servers component. Now when we go back and we go to servers, now I am gonna add query parameter. For adding that, I am going to use a query parameter. So remember guys, this query parameter is not a Angular separate directive. This is part of router link directive. This is associated with router link directive. This query parameter is not at all a separate Angular directive. So remember this. I mean, whenever we use this query parameter, we have to use it with router link directive already. Like in this case, we have already added router link directive, and now we are gonna add query params. So we have added that, and now to pass the value, I am gonna pass an object in query param. So the value of this object will be for, let's see, here I am gonna add allow edit, and I made it allow edit 1. So this will be basically the query parameter I have posted. And you did notice one thing, I did not add a question mark sign. Like you guys know, for query parameter we have to add question mark sign, then we use something else in some traditional approaches. But here in Angular there is a certain way to do that. I am not gonna add this question mark and also the equal sign or something. So we have added query parameter. Now we can see the effect of it. When we get to this page, and when we click on that link, so you see it is automatically, this question mark sign is automatically added, and allow added is equal to 1. This is now the part of our URL. So this is awesome, this is beautiful, how we can pass multiple parameters. Like you guys see that we have just passed an object, so we can pass n number of values in this object. This object will keep increasing, this object will keep growing. Now for testing with comma separated, I am gonna add one other parameter, that is, let's say it is option, and it is 2. So now we should have 2 parameters in our query string. So let's see, when we go back and when we click on server, and now when I click here, you see it has added 2 parameters. And you must have noticed that with first parameter Angular appended question mark, and for the second parameter it automatically added this ampersand sign. It did not add question mark again. So this is the intelligence of this Angular, that it does all the query parameter structure automatically, and we do not have to do anything. We just have to pass query parameters in our object. So this is done so far. This is working pretty fine. I am just going to delete this second parameter, and for learning purpose I have just added 1 parameter. Now guys, as you know, I have told you that there's one other way also. We can, if in certain scenarios we have to scroll down, when we get to a certain route, we need to scroll down to a certain area of the page. For that we need to pass something in the URL, like with this URL we need to pass something with this number sign. And let's see if we are going to pass something called loading. So if we want to make some URL like that with number sign, and automatically with the ID or with some string we want to associate with this number sign, how we can do that? There's, of course, there is an automatic built-in solution for this also. How that's gonna work, let's see it. So after adding this query parameter, we are going to add another thing called fragment. So for this fragment we are going to add the section called loading. And you must have noticed I have added this number sign here with this string, but we should not add that. Just to let you know, just to let you understand, I have added that. When we see the impact in the URL, that number sign will be added twice. One will be added for by default for the system. This Angular automatically understand this fragment means we want to add number sign, and then after the number sign it appends the string. So since I have added it again here, so now in the URL we will see it twice. Here we go. So we have seen twice this number sign in the URL. Now I am going back and I am going to remove this second thing. Now since we have removed it, and now when I click on that, here we go. You see now the number sign is coming only once, and this is how we can structure our URL in Angular, and we can pass query parameters. We can pass n number of query parameters in the URL based on our requirement, and also we can pass the fragment in our URL too. So this is pretty working fine, and if you guys want to test that, code along with me. That is, or this is utmost player for me, and stay tuned, subscribe my channel. There are a lot more coming up in my next videos. I am gonna make a huge playlist of different concepts on Angular, so there will be a lot more opportunity for you guys to learn, and also you guys to code along with me. I will see you guys in next video.